Hey guys, today I am doing my March and April wrap-up. I did not do a wrap-up last month because I only read one book in March, so I am including it in this wrap-up. And in April I actually read 5 books and 1 novella, though I am not sure if one of these books really counts as a book. But yeah, all in all, the books that I read were all kind of short. I think they were all, except for one, under 400 pages, but still I'm really happy that I have read so much, especially since I still had one audition at the beginning of the month, so I think it's really cool what I have accomplished. And yeah, let's start. So the one book that I read in March was, of course, A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I was not disappointed. As always, the characters were amazing, the world building was amazing, everything was amazing, the story was amazing. Victoria Schwab just writes so amazing. I absolutely loved it, and so far it is my favorite book of the year. And now let's get on to the books that I read in April. The first book I finished was Deliverance by C.J. Redwine. This is the third and final book in the Courier's Daughter trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. I was not so happy with the second book. It kind of had the second book syndrome, but this book was really good, and I thought a nice ending to the whole trilogy. I have to say that at one point, I think after the first book, I said that I really liked the romance in this trilogy. Well, I kind of have to take that back. I mean, the romance is not bad, but I do thought it was a bit annoying at some points. All in all, I can definitely recommend this trilogy. I thought it was a really cool fantasy world, and I do really like the characters all in all, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. I gave Deliverance 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Novice by Taryn Matharu. This is the first book in a new YA fantasy trilogy, and I received this book through Netgalley, so I did do a review of it, and you can check that out if you click here or if you click the link down in the description. I absolutely love this book. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. It has a really nice world, really cool characters, and I cannot wait to read more of it. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, and I can also just recommend it. If you like fantasy, then this is definitely a great book to check out. I described it as a clash between Harry Potter and Pokemon, and also bits of Lord of the Rings in it, but it has its very own world, very own style. Just check out the review if you feel like you might be interested. Oh, and also the book comes out on May 5th, so you can pre-order it right now. After that, I read Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. This is the one book where I wasn't sure if it counts as a book, because I think it has only like 150 or 200 pages, something like that. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. Let's just say that first. You can already see I enjoyed it, but it's not like I absolutely loved it, and it's not like I would not recommend it, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I'm really not sure about this book. I will continue with this series. I don't know how many books there will be, if there's only a second book or if there are more books to come. But this book ends on a crazy cliffhanger. I don't want to talk about the story because I went into it not knowing anything at all, and I think that was basically the only thing that kind of kept me reading on and on, because I really wanted to know what's going on. But I do feel like in the middle it was a bit annoying because I still did not know what was going on at all. So yeah, I was a bit like meh about this book, but yeah, it's really short, so I definitely think it's worth checking out. If you like Colleen Hoover, it's probably a good thing to just pick it up. After that, I read Origins by Taryn Matharu, which is the novella in the Summoner trilogy, which, you know, belongs to The Novice, and this comes before The Novice. This is a novella about another character, and I enjoyed this a lot as well. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was just great to read more of the world. It was great to find out more about one character from The Novice, and basically how he had very similar experience to the main character in The Novice. And yeah, if you are reading The Novice, I can definitely recommend checking out this novella as well. After that, I read 4 from Veronica Roth. If you don't know, this is a collection of short stories from the point of view of 4, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It was just great to have this book to dive back into the Divergent world and just learn a lot about 4 and how it all started for him, and I think you should definitely read it if you have read the trilogy, because I thought it was very, very interesting. And the last book I read in April was And the Smoke by Kristin Cast. I also received this book through Netgalley, so I'm going to upload a review of this a bit sooner to the release date, which is somewhere at the beginning of June. I just can't remember right now. I'm very, very sorry. So I'm probably going to upload a review in 2 or 3 weeks. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I thought that it was a very, very interesting story, but I kind of felt like it was only just the beginning. Basically, the part where the book stopped was for me a part where it should only have begun. I'm definitely going to continue with the series. I don't know how many books there are going to be, but I know that it is going to be a series, and I guess for a first book it was good, but for me personally it left a bit too many questions. But I'm going to say more about all of this in my review. So these were all the books that I read in March and April. I'm really, really happy about it. I think I'm currently 6 books ahead in my Goodreads challenge, which I think is really, really amazing. And I set my Goodreads challenge to only 30 books because I wasn't sure how much time I will have in this year and how much I will be able to read. But now that I'm so far ahead, I think I might go to 35 or even 40 books, but I'm not sure yet. I don't want to, set it back at some point because I realized I can't do it, so I'm gonna be careful with choosing a higher number to read, but I do think that 40 books will be possible at this point. I hope that you're as happy with your reading month as I am, and thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye! After that I read 4 by, which is, don't know. If you don't know, this is a collection of short stories. After that I read 4. After that I read 4 from Veronica Roth, which is a... After that I read... It was just great to have this book. It was just great to have this book to dive back into the divergent world. It was just great to have this book